College is the best 4 years of your life. That statement, I am here to tell you, is bullshit, or at least it can be bullshit. I know that college does not have to be the best 4 years of your life. I can say that because 1 year removed from college, I just spent my first year as an adult, and it was one of the best years of my life. I had a fantastic time, and I'm really excited to share what life has been like after college, and it's a lot different than I ever expected. If you're in college, about to graduate, or if you're a recent grad, I'm sure you've been hit with all kinds of questions and a little bit of anxiety and fear over what are you gonna do? Do you have a job lined up? Are you ready for the real world? Are you ready to be an adult? Are you no longer having fun now that you're an adult? All those questions, all those thoughts can come to mind. It's a lot to think about and go through, and the transition from college to the real world can be daunting. And I think I got super lucky in the last year, but learned a ton, and I'm super excited to share that in this video with you guys today. For a little bit of context, and if you're new to the channel, my name is bsisarsky. I graduated from the University of Florida just 1 year ago, and I moved to the city of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I work in sales for a big Fortune 50 company, and so I do the classic 9 to 5, and I am in a fully remote position, so I work from home. This is my office, this is my bedroom, it's my YouTube studio, and this is where I've been doing all of my work. Now, there's probably 1.5 million things that I could talk about in a full year after college. In this video, I want to focus on 4 things or 4 areas that I find most impactful in your first year after college. And for me, the first one is friendships, second is working or your job, and then finances and hobbies. 4 topics that I think are insanely important and that you should be aware of as you make your transition from college to the real world. I wish I knew these things before I made my move to Charlotte. So if you stay through the video, you'll get to see some of those, and hopefully they'll be helpful as you make your transition. Now, the first aspect is friends. And by friends, I hope to not sound like the mom guiding her kindergarten son on how to make friends, but instead just how beneficial making friends has been for this transition. So when I graduated and was moving to Charlotte, there was a few things I did, but one of the huge ones was actually going on social media, simply posting an Instagram poll that said, do you know anybody that lives in Charlotte, yes or no? And of the people that said yes, I sent them a DM and reached out to them to see who they knew there or what they knew about the city. This was huge because I either met friends there or gained a lot of information on it, and this is something that anybody can do. And then the other big piece was actually finding a roommate. So I went on a Facebook page and just typed in that I was looking for a roommate, and every big city has a huge Facebook page like this where people are looking for roommates. And so I found somebody else that was a recent college grad, and that ended up working wonders because you can become friends with their friends and X, Y, and Z. But I think having a roommate as you move to a new city is fantastic. So lucky for me, sure enough, my company had a few young people that lived in this city, some people that I actually knew from school. And as I moved up here, I took them up on every opportunity to hang out with them and ask them what they were doing and hang out with their friends. Long story short, I became friends with their friends and we formed a fantastic friend group. In a world with the COVID environment, friends were critical. It was just so important to have people to talk to and have great people to rely on, and you'd be surprised how many people are going through the same thing as you and moving to a new city. One of the best things we ever did that I'd encourage all of you to do is pick a night of the week for all of you guys to hang out. So for us, it's every single Wednesday night, somebody hosts dinner at their apartment or at their house, and we know that Wednesday night is when we do that. It's a great way to split up the middle of the week. Somebody hosts, and it's very casual. We get to talk to people the whole time, have a great time. And knowing that, everybody then blocks off their calendar. They make sure that Wednesday nights are sacred. It's one of the best ways to get a huge group of people together is have that type of consistency. Because if you don't, then life piles up and everybody's priorities pile up, and it can be really hard to hang out with people. So this was one of the most amazing things that I've done. So when I was in college, I was in a fraternity, I was in a lot of business organizations, and you have that thing in common with all of those people is, you know, you go to that school. It's really easy to break the ice and meet a lot of people your age. When you move to a new city, not everybody is your same age, not everybody has something inevitably or easily in common with you. And so there are differences. And in college, I mean, one of the main things that a lot of people do is you go out to bars and you drink, and that is an inherently social thing. Now, as an adult, a lot of people go out to bars and drink too, but you might find that a little bit harder to do as you work almost every single day. It can be a little bit different than college, and so there are some big differences. And I know this sounds basic as hell, but when you move to your new place, when you start your new life, really consider prioritizing making friends. It is one of the most important things to do early on, and once you do that, once you have a good support system, then you can do everything else. Everything else gets a lot easier. That's my big tip there. The next big area I want to talk about is work, or my job. It's crazy, I've been in my big boy job for 1 year, and to be honest, it's really not that different. Now, everybody's job is gonna vary so completely differently. However, for me, because I'm in a fully work from home job, it doesn't feel that different than college. What I mean by that is when you're in college, you sit at your desk in your room, or in some cases in a library, and you do your work when you need to do your work. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. And so there's a little bit more structure to this. There's more people that rely on me. It's a lot more collaborative now. All that to be said, it's a pretty smooth transition. I think what you'll find is that as a new hire, the expectations are not crazy high. You know, you obviously want to do well, but they know that you're transitioning into this phase. And it's awesome to have something very challenging and rewarding to do each day. And I really don't want to use this video to get too into the specifics of my job itself, but some things I have found helpful in the last year, especially with work from home, is that having a roommate and getting to work from home with my roommate is amazing, because I'm not just by myself all day, but I have a friend. But there are some things that my friends that live alone have done that I think are awesome for work from home, is although they're working from home, they'll just go over to their friend's place and work with their friend. Even though they work at different companies, it's a great way to still collaborate and just not go crazy as you're doing 8 hours or more of work each day. Now, a huge difference, or a potentially huge difference, between college and work is finances. In theory, college versus working, now you're getting a salary, and that can be very different. And that's why I really encourage every single recent graduate, or if you're still in college, to very much focus on learning about personal finances now. I'm not gonna talk about tips and what you should do and where you should put your money specifically. You can leave that for Graham Stephan's YouTube channel, Dave Ramsey, any of those guys. But what I'm saying is to learn about it, because it's so easy to just put finances and money to the back of your brain, realize that you get paid now and just, oh, okay, all I want to make sure I do is not spend it all. But it is so important to focus on your financial health now instead of worrying about it later. There's a ton of resources out there, but I really encourage you to start thinking about retirement investing now and just saving in general. My biggest realization in the last year, and I'm so glad I realized this before I started my job, is when I was in college, I was so damn happy and I didn't have that much money. So now that I'm getting money, I'm realizing that I don't need to spend it all if I was already happy. And that mindset alone is a great way to realize that you don't have to spend everything you get. In fact, you might as well save it. There's no reason to upgrade your lifestyle when if you're already happy with what your previous financial situation got you, maybe bump it up a little bit here and there, but you don't need to spend everything you make, and you will thank yourself in the future when you have more saved up. And finally, the last aspect I want to talk about is hobbies. And in general, that just means time to do what you want. Whether your hobby is marathon running or watching Netflix, there's this big question of, do you have to sacrifice all of your hobbies once you get a job, once you move to the real world? Frankly, my answer is no. What I've learned a lot in the past year is that if you want to make time for something, you can. In fact, if you have the mindset that you're gonna work as hard as you can and you don't care and you'll work 12 hours a day, you'll probably end up working 12 hours in that day. But if you only give yourself 8 hours to do the same amount of work and you have a strict deadline on yourself for that, you might find that you're actually more focused and you're getting all of that work done in the 8 hours at the same level of quality. I say all of that to point out that some people stress that they should be doing more of something in a certain area, and because they think that they should be working more and always working, then they'll just go ahead and sacrifice all of their hobbies or things that they previously enjoyed doing when in college. For me, in the last year, I've had very strict deadlines in place with work. So I'm still getting everything done, but I'm very focused and deliberate while I'm working, and that leaves me enough time for all of my hobbies outside of work. So I've been able to juggle work along with this YouTube channel, along with bodybuilding, and I'm training for a marathon. Now I sound like I'm bragging, but these are all things that I enjoy. Still have the ability to hang out with friends, and compared to college, I'm actually doing more than I was doing in college. So it's all about how you manage your time and what you want to do with it. But just because you have a job now doesn't necessarily mean that you have to throw your hobbies behind you. So by investing in friendships, being focused at your job, putting yourself in a good financial situation where you don't have to worry about anything that could happen financially, and then finally just still doing and making time for the things you love, it can make life after college amazing if you want it to be that way. And that is the big takeaway from this video. So if you enjoyed this at all, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel. A lot more content relating to hobbies, life, finances, whatever it might be. I like to cover a wide variety of topics on this channel. Anyway, I hope you guys all have a fantastic week, and here's to making every single year of your life the best year of your life.